Hey there, and welcome to our Ingram Micro webinar with the Dropbox team, who will be presenting Dropbox Sign and our API integration. Please feel free to make any comments in the chat if you can't hear us or you can't see the screen as we progress. Firstly today, I'd like to introduce Rumki Mukherjee, our Solutions Development Specialist vendor, and Rumki will take us through Ingram Micro's GBB strategy, also known as Good, Better, Best, and our cloud marketplace. We also have today the wonderful Dropbox team, Shanthi Arul, who's the Dropbox APC channel manager. Shanthi will take us through today the sales benefits of Dropbox Sign and API sales and some workflows and how they apply to business practices today. We also have Hussain, who's the Dropbox Principal Solution Architect. And Miad will be providing us with a demo of Dropbox Sign and an API environment. We will then spend a few minutes after the presentations going through Q&A, but feel free at any time to post any questions in the chat as we progress. And of course, the last stop of today will be a quiz based on some of today's presentations, some questions that enables you to win some prizes. The first prize is a $500 Visa card. The second prize will be $300 and the third prize will be $200. A link will be provided to the quiz in the chat closer to the time that we come to the quiz section, close to the time for you to access. And of course, the faster and most accurate answers win today in the quiz. So thank you very much for your time. We're expecting this webinar to take about an hour. So I will hand over to Shanthi. Thanks so much, Shanthi.
Thank you very much, Krishy. Appreciate it. So team, we're here to talk about Dropbox Sign today. Hopefully you'll see my screen in just a second. Give me one tick. There we go. So as Krishy mentioned, I'm Shanthi Arul. I look after our channel development across the region. So everything from net new partners, helping you out with your first couple of deals as well, and helping you transact with Ingram. So we're here to talk about Dropbox Sign. Now, Dropbox Sign isn't actually new to the market. We actually acquired a company called Sign, who's been in the market for more than 10 years. We made that acquisition in 2019. So it's been around for quite a while, and we just rebranded as of late last year to Dropbox Sign as a part of the full portfolio in the family. A quick note here that you can absolutely purchase Dropbox Sign separately from having a Dropbox subscription. The whole purpose of it as an e-signature product is for you to be able to easily send, sign, and store all of your most important agreements all within Dropbox Sign. And of course, when we start talking about the API within the platform of your choice. With Dropbox Sign, we have lots of results from customers looking at up to 80% faster document completion. And of course, being a part of the Dropbox family, we do of course have seamless integration into Dropbox, and when we start talking API into other platforms as well. So let's just start with the cash. How do we make dollars with Dropbox Sign and selling it? So deals can start from as low as $420 a user ex GST with the 2-user minimum. We have deals in our region in Australia well up to $300,000 annual recurring revenue around API sign deals. It's very easy for us to look at already existing Dropbox customers and looking at seeding sign into them. Again, as I mentioned, you could do this separate and standalone completely if your customers aren't using Dropbox already today. What I'm going to take you through is a lot of line of business. Now, we can talk about any vertical that Dropbox Sign would be relevant to, whether it's legal, finance, manufacturing, construction, sort of the world's a little bit endless in terms of possibilities of where you can sell this into. What's more important is that we're finding over the last few years that it's very much around the line of business stakeholder who's going to be interested in Sign. It might not be resonating just from an IT perspective. And of course, when it comes to cash, we do have a few extra promotions up for grabs outside of the call today, which will be around gift cards as well as a trip to Iceland with Dropbox. So I'll kick into our line of business users. We'll start off with our sales and our marketing teams. So these are the most common sales and marketing contracts that you might find. Again, sales orders, partner agreements, marketing and advertising agreements, service orders, and then maintenance approvals as an example. These are generally some of those higher value agreements that sales and marketing tend to use quite frequently. The benefit to your business of having Dropbox Sign is getting to the money quicker. So reducing time in getting your agreement signed, reducing that risk around manual tasks. So knowing that it has been sent, getting clarity and visualization on someone has actually opened the contract and that they've now signed it, and then increasing that productivity workflow. So things like every 3 and 7 days, a reminder gets sent out so you don't have to manually follow up with a phone call or an email with your customer. From a HR and talent acquisition standpoint, some of the most common document types are offer letters, new hire paperwork, tax forms, etc., contract agreements, background checks, onboarding and offboarding checklists, deed of releases as an example. Again, from a HR and business talent acquisition standpoint, we're able to look at using Sign to close candidates faster. So getting that offer letter out and getting that accepted within seconds and minutes rather than a couple of hours or days. Streamlining your employee onboarding process, being able to do things like self-sign inside of Dropbox, and also getting that transparency so that your HR team knows if the candidate has actually opened their offer letter or if there's something that's gone wrong in the process. From a finance and procurement standpoint, some of the most common agreements are your master services agreements, statements of work, purchase orders, invoice processing, and inventory and audit sign-off. Again, we're seeing some of those very similar themes around speeding up the procurement cycle, speeding up the time to get your documents signed, increasing your productivity workflows, again, thinking about can we actually integrate Sign into some of your existing applications and processes to speed up that efficiency, and of course, secure storage, storing in the cloud. So for the partners on the call, Dropbox Sign, in terms of sales, we've seen up to 42% of our sales deals close in less than 30 days. We get to that 90% mark in around that 90 days. So it really is a really quick sort of time to market opportunity. And when we talk about the API, which Miad will take you through shortly, all of our developer guides are available online. So your people, your developers, your customers can actually go on and start testing out our code before they're ready to go down that purchasing agreement. So in that terms, we generally find the sales are quite quick, and again, less than 30 days. So what does this look like when we go to purchase? Dropbox Sign comes in 2 flavors. Now, the first one is the UI experience. It's your simple, your document's ready to go and you're ready to send it out through the UI. So that's our Dropbox Sign experience, fully web-based. And then we've also got Dropbox Sign API, which is all about the greatness that you get in the UI into your API. So your ability to then embed that into other applications and have an iframe-like experience when you're sending out, or potentially to embed into a website. For our API plan, you get the UI included as a free. Now, the big thing that I'll also draw on here is that we've got 2 different plan types. So we've got a standard plan and a premium plan with Dropbox. Your standard plan, Dropbox Sign, your standard plan is going to give you 15 templates to access. On the Dropbox Sign API side, you're going to get, from a premium, just to regard the API piece, on a premium side, you'll get access to unlimited templates, as well as Australian data residency and advanced signing features over and above what you already get out of the standard plan itself. So with that, I'll quickly take you through the API side of things and then I'll hand it over to Miad. So on the API side, we're generally seeing that the size of the deals are more than 4x what they are for the per user plans. We're generally seeing a 16% year-on-year increase in the average deal size once you embed and integrate into other applications we start to see the uptick of more people using it, more contracts being sent out. And again, you can see here 20% year-on-year growth of API sales as well. So why is that? Our top 3 things are around the developer experience. Dropbox Sign integrates 2 times faster than our competing products, and 39% of Sign developers can build their integrations in a single day. We've got customers who can build within a couple of hours, and it's generally a much faster time than our competitors are. The next piece around the features. So we have premium branding, which actually enables you through white labeling to remove the mention of Dropbox Sign on your own application or website. We've got embedded workflows as well, and you can make API calls straight from the documentation. So not needing to write line of code, that's all available within our developer site live on the web. And around the integrations, we've also got unique insights that we can provide from an API standpoint, and you can see here from a visualization that's available, as well as being able to troubleshoot errors quickly. So with that, I will hand it over to Mia to take you through a demonstration of Dropbox Sign. Over to you, Mia.
Thank you. All right, hey everyone, I'm Mia. I'm Solutions Architect for the Dropbox suite of products, and the purpose of today's demo is to essentially showcase some of the capabilities of Dropbox Sign. It isn't a technical deep dive. The idea is you get to see some of the user experiences from the web application side and also the API side of things. So jumping straight in, on my screen you can see the web application. It follows the same Dropbox design language, so it's been minimized to essentially reduce the time to value in terms of users getting onboarded and hit the ground running in terms of knowing what exactly to do. So what I want to run through with you today is essentially in its simplest form, how do you get a document out for signing? Introduce the concept of templates and how that works within Dropbox Sign. We look at the integration ecosystem, so the integrations that we have pre-built and some that exist in our partner ecosystem, and going beyond that in terms of leveraging the API to build bespoke integrations with the use cases that Shanthi shared earlier as well. And we'll then look at some of the team management and admin console options you get in terms of how you would manage this in your organizations. And with that, if there's an additional technical deep dive that's needed, we can always have follow-up sessions. So I'm just going to jump straight in now and walk you through, in its simplest form, what it takes to get a document out for signing. So what you're looking at here is the landing page of the web application. All your options in terms of the different menus are on the left-hand side of the screen. So you have templates, your document management portal, and then the integration sort of management section, followed by the API dashboard. And I'll get to each of those in the next few minutes. But hitting the Sign Documents button, top left-hand corner, it brings you to the very simple four-step process to get a document out for signing. You can see where it asks you the source of the document. So where are we going to pick up the document to send out to the recipients? There's an option of enabling specific integration that are pre-built, the likes of Dropbox, obviously, and then Google Drive, OneDrive, etc. If I click on Dropbox, it's going to load my file hierarchy right within this iframe here. But if I wanted to do something ad hoc in terms of load a document from my desktop computer, I can do that as well. So while the document's uploading, you don't really have to worry about any formatting. We'll essentially take Excel files, Word documents, images, etc. We'll do the conversion into PDF that's tamper-proof. So no need to do any of that manually. And when that's done, essentially you can define who your recipients are. And as you sort of work with Dropbox Sign, it'll sort of build a database of your contacts. So if I just start typing essentially people I've communicated with before, it gives me a list. If not, you can add people in. Once you identify these recipients, essentially you have the options of adding signer authentication. Think of this as the way you can bolster security in terms of sensitive documents that you're sending out. So that could be in the form of a one-time password, or essentially using two-factor authentication where an SMS text goes out to the recipient. They then key that in and get access to the document to do the needful. In addition, each recipient can also be asked to provide attachments. So specific use cases require forms of ID to be uploaded in terms of completing the signing process. So if I click on request attachments here, you can define up to 5 attachments, make them mandatory or optional, and essentially when the document is completed, that'll all be packaged up for you in terms of receiving the documents via email and also through the document portal. So you can have multiple signers. So as I add multiple signers here, I also have the option to set signer order, so it follows the order that you define. For simplicity, I'm just going to keep it as the one signer. Signer reassignment is one of the advanced signer features that Shanthi mentioned. So essentially, it's delegating authority for you to send it up the chain, for example, in terms of you receive a document, it's something you need to float by your manager, your delegated authority to reassign that to your manager to complete the document. So moving on to the third process. So this is essentially how you prepare the document in terms of setting up the relevant fields, etc. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see that I have a list of the signers that I defined in the previous step. In this case, it's just the one, and it's all color-coded in terms of identifying which fields correspond to which signers. So it's easy in terms of how you set it up. So you would just scroll down to the areas where you would need a signature or the associated attributes, and then it's simply drag and drop. You can resize, you can format, font, etc. based on the type of field you're working with. You can also resize. I just drag and drop the full name that's listed under autofill fields, and that's essentially, as I mentioned before, if you work with a bunch of contacts who've actually signed a document using Dropbox Sign before, it'll essentially ask them if they receive something a couple of weeks later, do you want to actually pre-fill this information the next time you receive a document from Dropbox Sign, and it'll build that profile for them. So that's how the autofill fields works. It'll identify if this person has given authority for us to remember that. If not, it's all good. You can manually type it in. So I'm just going to drop one more field in there in terms of date signed. Don't like that format. The default set to here is a US-centric date, but essentially I can change that here or change the default in the admin console. Now, the last step of the process is essentially adding any CC recipients. So think of this process as we have some customers who put in a generic mailbox here where we have a team sort of monitoring or archiving these documents that come in terms of doing some sort of activity to verify, etc. And in terms of receiving attachments, so there's ways that you could use this feature to sort of link in other processes as well. The due date is essentially an expiry date. So if you take that option here, you can define by when this recipient needs to actually complete the signing. So I'm just going to hit the 12th of October. And then you can give the document title. So this will be incorporated to the email notification that goes out to the recipient. So if I just go, please sign, NDA, reach out if you have any questions, and send for signature. So as I said, in its simplest form, that's how you get a document out for signing, so that time to value, that reducing the time involved in getting a document completed. In all these different use cases that Shanthi mentioned, that's how you would do it using a tool such as Dropbox Sign. Now, once a document's actually sent out, it navigates me through to the documents portal. So this is your one-stop shop for everything that's gone through your Dropbox Sign environment. So your documents, your team documents, if you have the relevant permissions, and also in terms of working on the one-to-many sort of workflow, so bulk sends, so incorporating a number of requests in the one go, in terms of you set it up the one time, you hit send, and it goes up to multiple parties which are not linked to each other. In terms of the actual documents, you have options. If I click on the right here, so in terms of editing the expiry date, duplicating it, previewing it, and for the ones that I've completed, if I just click on this one here, you can see more information in terms of the unique document ID, who's actually signed it, etc. And then you can download it, share a copy of the document, etc. So think of anything to do with completed documents, pending documents, you'd come in here to sort of kick off any other tag-on process. And in terms of storage, we don't actually charge for any space in Dropbox Sign. It's essentially as much as you need in terms of storing your documents that have an e-signature on it. So that's all done from this menu here. Now, before I dive into integrations and the API side of things, I'm just going to flick screens to this one here. And what you're looking at here is the email notification that's gone out to the recipient that needs to complete a document by signing it. So you can put in, your labeling in terms of company logos, etc., and customize the message. But the look and feel of this email will essentially be what you see now. And if I hit review and sign, the recipient would never have to have, used Dropbox Sign before, etc., or sign up for an account. They click on the one link, and essentially the document renders in front of them. So here's the preview of the document that this individual's received that they need to sign. And essentially they have the option to decline, or they can download a copy if they wanted to, floated by their legal team, etc. Or they can hit get started, which is essentially you're starting the process, and it'll automatically navigate you to the fields that have been assigned to you to complete. So in this case, you can see, because I have signed using this demo account before, it's pre-filled my name and the date, and all I need to do is actually, read the document and then sign it. And you can see that I have a bunch of saved signatures, but in terms of options, I can draw, type, or even upload an actual photo of my signature. For the purpose of simplicity, I'm just going to use an existing one. So once that's inserted, you can see this now moves on to a continue button. And the last step is essentially, agreeing to the T's and C's of the service, which is both parties agreeing that they're happy to use an electronic signature tool to complete this document. And then once you hit I agree, that's the end of the process. Both parties get notified the document is now complete and get email copies as well. All right, so the one thing I sort of want to dive into quickly is templates. So templates is essentially your rinse and repeat sort of scenarios. So documents that are going day in, day out. So the examples that Shanthi gave in terms of MSAs, not MSAs, but essentially any sort of contracts that have small variations in terms of attributes, but generally speaking, the conditions remain the same. That's when you would use sort of templates. And the document that I just sent out as a one-off, I actually created a template here. So if I hit edit, I can show you the process of actually creating a template without having to go through we can script through some of the steps. So we know what the document is. Instead of identifying the recipients, we're now identifying the roles, because every time we send this template out, we just need to define, who the recipients are. The rest of the structure stays within the process. And in terms of the fields, so you can see on the left-hand side here that I have multiple signers. So I have the recipient and I have the company. So who's signing on behalf of the company and who's the actual recipient. And it's all color-coded. And essentially the sender is whoever's using this template to send out a copy to a customer. They will define what the recipient's office address is in this case for the NDA. And I'll show you what that's like when they actually use it. So scrolling down, you can see that it's color-coded in terms of who's responsible for what in terms of completing the document. So if I quit out of this and just show you the experience in terms of using the template in comparison to what we saw as sending it as a one-off. So if I hit use template, documents there, we can tag on additional documents as well. So if it's a one-off document that needs to go with this template, not a problem, you can just drag and drop it. In terms of the signers, here's how it knows the roles, and you just need to key in the relevant people who need to sign it. And if I just put in a couple of signers and hit next, the document's ready to go out now. And essentially, in the previous screen, I showed you that we identified that the sender needs to key in an office address. If I go 5 Martin Place, Sydney, that's going to be incorporated into the document, because as part of creating this template, I said I've allowed it to vary every time this document's going out, and then I can just hit send for signature. So the template reduces the number of steps, and the idea is for your rinse and repeat sort of scenarios, it's going to save you a lot of time in getting these documents out for signing. In terms of integration, so if I click on the integrations options here, you can see that I have Dropbox, Gmail, Google Drive, and this is why you also saw the logo for in terms of uploading documents from different sources when I went through the first step of the document signing process. So any sort of integration you see here, it's something that we've natively built at Dropbox Sign. And what we mean by that is we sort of built it and manage it on an ongoing basis. And in addition to the ones you see here, there's a whole bunch of other partner integrations that we have as well. And of course, for building custom integration, that's when the API comes in. Dropbox Sign, being an API first company, gives you a lot of flexibility in what you can do to incorporate e-signature into your processes. So from an API standpoint, we've tried to make it as easy as possible for developers incorporating the API into their processes or custom systems. So with that comes an API dashboard that we recently revamped. And I think there's a screenshot in Shanti's slide as well. So the idea is it gives you all the information you need to actually, like when you're going through the whole development phase, but also managing it on an ongoing basis. So in the last 7 days, I've had no errors, but I can sort of flick through the date range and look through, statuses, what are the endpoints that are being used. You can look at the API requests, you can look at the apps and the keys that are being used, etc. So the idea is all things API is simply through this dashboard. You can flick between your live and test environments, etc. So the idea is when you sort of have incorporated Dropbox Sign, we try and make it as easy as possible for you to maintain it on an ongoing basis. So the last thing I actually want to show you is around the API user experience. Now, the way it sort of works is there's the whole concept of embedding it completely into a bespoke system like a CRM or ATP, etc. So the idea is like you can have a fully embedded white labeled experience where there's absolutely no mention of Dropbox Sign. And the other end of the spectrum is essentially having a non-embedded integration with Dropbox Sign, which is essentially Dropbox Sign will do the heavy lifting. So you click a button, the document signing process is kicked off, and recipients will be navigated into a web portal to complete the signing. So that's the last two sort of things I want to show you. So the first one is really around embedded, so what that would work like. I'm using an API demo website here. It isn't a website that's built by Dropbox Sign. It's something that my team has built to just showcase the user experience when it comes to leveraging our API. So these attributes here, the concept behind it is the way we sort of merged in the fields in the previous example, like the address. We can have, some details pre-filled. So think of this coming in from your CRM system, for example. So you would have, the name of your customer, their address, et cetera, and when you need to sort of get a document out for signing, or if you need to have a customer or a client sort of sign into a portal to complete a process. So this could be, candidate, like a recruitment system where the candidates actually sign in to complete their profile and complete their onboarding docs. They would click on a button, say sign here, and basically the iframe would pop up where it would render your document. In this case, it hasn't been completely white labeled, which is why you see Dropbox Sign. But there's a possibility to sort of like customize it completely. So we have your color scheme, your logos, etc., and any mention of Dropbox Sign will be removed from it. So we'll have a consistent experience within these custom systems. As you can see, it's the same sort of experience you can expect using the web portal embedded fully in your system. And the same is possible with the full template capability. And lastly, in terms of non-embedded, essentially, what I want to show you is just this screen. So you could hit the one button, and the same way I showcase an email being received and the signing happening, that's essentially you doing it through API as well. So a lot of information to take in. It wasn't meant to be a technical deep dive. The idea is you can see some of the capability of Dropbox Sign through the web app and then through the API. And with that, I'll hand it back to Shanthi, who's going to walk through a bit about our integrations as well. So with that, Shanthi, I'm just going to hand it back to you.
Thank you. And hopefully you guys can see some of those use cases coming into play. That's a really great one for legal, for councils. You see a ton of forms on their website and they make you download it manually and fill it out. So this is a great way to actually go in and templatize a lot of that and then go through an electronic signature process. So I've mentioned quite a lot of the integrations that we do have. You can also see some here like Greenhouse and HubSpot. You can scan on the QR code. This deck's going to be shared out after the session, so feel free to scan there. It's going to take you to the website where we've got additional integrations as well. So just wanted to take you through two case studies really quickly and then where the cash is. So the first one here is Eagle Financial. They're an accounting firm located in Sydney. They actually use Dropbox Sign as a part of their process, creating templates to then send it out for their tax forms. So you can see here, Dropbox Sign helped to save them 4 minutes per document, and they were able to recoup more than $80,000 in billable time. So again, being able to have those every 3 and 7 days sending out notifications really helped their team to move on to the more important activities and actually start going out to more customers as well. So that's the use of our Dropbox Sign as a signature request. And then you've got here Job Adder, who's one of our customers on the API side of things. An applicant tracking system, again, Sydney-based, but around Australia and global as well. They actually did the fully embedded approach to embed the iframe or Dropbox Sign through an iframe into their applicant tracking system, which allowed their recruiters to collect the information on their candidates much quicker and then send out a document to sign directly from the ATS platform rather than going into Dropbox Sign. Again, something that would have taken them up to days or potentially a little bit longer, and now they can do that in a matter of minutes as they're going through the recruitment process. So another great example of an API Sign customer. So what the offers are up for grabs. So we've got our High Flyers Club. This is an experience of a lifetime to get to Iceland. Now, this is for 5 of our top selling Dropbox channel partners in the APJ region, and we do have opportunities up for grabs. We still have plenty of time until the end of the year when we will close off all the deals. So click on the link, get registered to sign up for it, and hopefully we'll see you in Iceland. The second promo that we have up for grabs is our Dropbox Bundle Boost program. Essentially, you're looking at bundling 2 different Dropbox products, so Sign, which we've hopefully spoken about today, potentially Dropbox or something else that's in our portfolio, like DocSend as an example. As long as you've got 10 licenses or more, you're going to receive a $200 gift card. And if you've already got additional Dropbox customers or customers already in your install base, we are also promoting to add some add-ons. You will receive a gift card for that. So again, any additional add-ons up to $100 each time. So again, get registered for the program. We'd love to see you winning some cash while you're selling Dropbox and Dropbox Sign. So I've just popped up my details here. I know that we're using the question and answer within, within the Q&A. Please pop in any questions that you've got for me, Ed and I will come off mute later on in the call and answer some of those questions for you as well. So with that, I'll hand it over to Rumki.
Hello, everyone. Hope you all can see my screen. So what I'm going to present is your path to more profit. This is for all my partners, and thank you for your attendance today. My name is Mukherjee. I'm the Business Development Manager at Ingram Micro, representing Dropbox. So what we are going to actually touch base is a good, better, and best, which is a selling methodology. You can call it like a outcome-based framework at Ingram Micro. So what's the agenda that I'm gonna quickly touch base today? Sorry. So agenda number 1 would be, how would you package a market viable solution through Dropbox in 3 different ways, which is going to be a complementary to rest of your business. Second, how would you sell this particular solution with the expected and realistic business outcome, which will actually lead to your profitability? And the third one, how would you commit and embed this offering in a typical business-wide approach? Now, the discussion topics would be 4 from my end. A, we would actually talk about a bit more about go-to-market strategies. Second, we'll see a bit of a snapshot in terms of product. Third, I'm gonna show you the time to revenue, and we will fourth, we will be discussing the next steps and whom to reach out. So how does this journey look like? So this is a typical framework at Ingram Micro. It starts from identifying the problem. And then it actually, once the problem is identified, we then go and think about, okay, the problem is identified, as like what Shanthi and Miad had recently demonstrated. What is the solution that you may actually refer and propose to your end user? The third phase would be, once you have proposed the solution, how are we going to work together? Who all will be the teams who would actually handhold and help you position the value prop? So that's typically the framework for starting from understanding the issue. How are we going to achieve this together as a team? How would it work? So that's where Miad actually presented here with the complete solution demonstration, which is, we call it like a discovery session, where he is going to present more details in our technical specifications. The next thing is, yes, selling for profit. That's when you and I, Ingram team and your team, we will work together to come up with a selling profit mechanism. And the third would be, going and proposing with your MRR and an annual recurring revenue. That's the complete framework with a good, better, best business outcome. I will dive into it a bit more in terms of the dollar amount as to how this will look like, and that's what we call time to revenue. So why do you think that I'm proposing a different approach? Because the time is different. Post-pandemic, every organization is working, of course, in a more collaborative way compared to the past life, where we are actually working together, globally situated. That's where the sharing, collaboration will come into the picture. And I believe every organization needs, and and they need to do and present their business a bit differently as the technology is evolving day by day. That's where Ingram had actually come up with this particular framework, and has it. And to be honest, in our other vendors, we have seen quite a bit of a success. So I thought, probably our Dropbox partners could actually avail and embrace this new approach to have a bit more, selling profitability margin with this framework. Now, talking about the bit of a landscape about the product. Yes, we are highlighting today's presentation to do with Dropbox Sign, but let me tell you this. Think of it in an organization where the user, whom I have depicted as an user, as a lady over there, what is the expected day-to-day operations when she goes to the office? The first thing she would do is like open the laptop, with SSO. Maybe she will sign on with 100 applications, will start transferring, will require certain docs and paper. These are all digital paper I'm talking about. Will actually send the requests to the internal stakeholders as well as the external stakeholders. So can you imagine the amount of work and the collaboration that's happening just for one user, just for one employee for that matter? And that's where these product landscapes like Dropbox Paper, Dropbox Transfer, Dropbox DocSend, Dropbox Sign, these all landscapes and product capabilities will come into the picture. It's on you, my partners, where you actually see which capability would you like to pick up. And you have, as I said, the framework talks about identify the problem first as to what we are going to solve for our end users. That's the crux and the beginning of this framework. Now, there are a couple of qualifying questions that I usually recommend to all my partners to ask to their end users. Typically, when it comes to Dropbox Sign, A, maybe if I were you, I would ask these questions. The first thing is, do you service industries that need to share large volumes of data in the form of agreements to your external parties if they need a sign off? If the answer is yes, the key selling point would be, what do we give to our end user? A, along with the product, We are giving them the gift of time that they may embed it in their own business and can deliver true savings in the form of dollar amount. Probably they can use that time that is being saved streamlining some other processes. Wouldn't that be a selling point for Dropbox Sign? The second question I might ask, would you like to improve the productivity of your customers, saving them time and making them more money? Yes, the business outcome of the selling point would be accelerating the speed, reducing the costs, and mitigating any kind of risks and errors. And the other, and this is typically I usually ask to all my partners as well, and you may ask this thing to your end users. So when it comes to digital e-signature, the first thing ever that comes to everyone's mind is like, is any company looking to become go green? Are they looking to eliminate the paper usage, which might mitigate the deforestation and will conserve the forest biodiversity? Of course, if the answer is yes, there you go, which becomes your key selling points for your end users. And these are typically tried and tested qualifying questions, which has brought a lot of success stories to us. Now, just to give some time to time to revenue, I know Shanthi did mention that for one of her partners, we had been able to mitigate a billable amount of 80,000, and this happened with one of our partners too. Let's say in an organization, on an average, if you think about it, 3,000 annual volume of agreements actually go to and fro for a sign off, which is like 250 on an average. Now, approximately, if you actually incorporate the hard cost, the soft costs, and the productivity cost, approximately it will come down to around, let's say, $66.48 per transaction, per template being sent in and out, with everything being kept in place. Now, that 3K, that is $3,000 times 66 approximately will give you 199.4K. That's a total amount lost in a year just because we are probably one of your end users is away from embracing Dropbox Sign. That is a question to be asked. And this is something like, we do have an ROI calculator. And when we have a discovery session, as what Miyat said, when we get into more technical specifications and dive into deeper, we might actually get into an ROI kind of a conversation as well. So there could be three different starting points for us to ask questions, qualifying questions to our end users. One, what is their time to revenue? Second, what is their productivity cost, or how much are they willing to save their productivity costs? What are their hard costs, like printers, stationeries, pen, paper? And that's when we actually put up a benefit as a formula, which is like drive the factor times improvement factor as to how much they are expecting, times financial factor, and then for how many years they are phasing it out. That's a typical driving factor, which, and even if we actually think of optimizing 5% of their total cash outflow as a pilot run for next 3 months, I think the answer is there. We are still going to save and mitigate a lot of costs for our end users' productivity. Now, from an ROI perspective, yes, we do, and this is something I wanted to bring it to your notice, that what all it takes to actually, when it comes to sending a document outside or to an internal external stakeholder, what all it takes us to prepare it, then it signs, then we get it back, we act on it, and then we manage it as well. Like, where do we want to save it? Is it Teams? Is it SharePoint? Where do we want to archive it? That's where, if you think of the total agreement process, 42 minutes. So on an average, we help businesses save 7 minutes preparing the documents, 8 minutes signing it up, thinking and going through the whole page, 8 minutes to act on it, and then total of 19 minutes managing the documents, total approximately 42 to 45 minutes. If it gets saved, think about it in this way. If 45 minutes gets saved on per transaction, per user, like per employee who is actually being hired in your company to manage these documents, how much are you going to save? That's approximately $50 to $55 per template per transaction. Now, having said that, how for my partner, how would the road to growth and profitability look like? So Dropbox has got a lot of product capabilities, starting from Dropbox Business to Dropbox Sign to DocSend. If you go from the down to top approach, that's where I have mentioned good, better, and best. Good would be something where you may say, okay, look, guys, we haven't used Dropbox Sign. We don't know the capability of this product. How about we start maybe with something to test or maybe trial, have a bit of a trial. Yes, we do have that trial available on our cloud marketplace, and I'll show you where it is there. So you may start with the either with a standard version of the product, or before even that, if you want to test the water, you can actually go and subscribe yourself to the trial. The better would be once you're confident, you may come to us and say, look, it's all good. We have the requirement for the Dropbox Sign or maybe for the APIs. That is where we actually go for the better and the best solutions, and we bundle it up as a offering for you. Now, that's how we streamline your path to selling more. We start with a build stage to your growth stage, and then you scale it up. And that's when it starts with good. The growth stage would be better, and the scale stage would be best. Now, this is a bit of a highlight in terms of good, better, best, where we have bundled the offerings for our partners in the past. Like, let's say if you want to, I know a couple of you would be on our existing Dropbox partners, maybe currently using standard 9 licenses. And if you would come to us and say, hey, how about we actually go for Dropbox Sign? Can you actually provide us a package solution? Yes, we can. And that's how the good, better, best. The numbers that you see here are subject to change. This is just to give you an indicative pricing in terms of per unit, how much would it cost with a growth and a build stage. And when you scale it up, how much profitability margin can you expect? Of course, with the best outcome, you may expect the highest profitability margin, which goes beyond 25% as well. This is something when you and I get into a discovery session, I can walk you through in a more detailed, but this is how the framework looks like. Now, I would quickly actually jump onto Cloud Marketplace to show you where can you find, because this is something what my partners would always love to see. Let's say if you're on the Cloud Marketplace, just give me one moment so that I can look into it. Sorry. I just want to show you exactly. So when you actually go to Cloud Marketplace, you may, now let's say if you're looking for Dropbox Sign, you may actually just put in Dropbox Sign over here. And then the best way, that is the simplest way that I might actually look for it, is like there are a couple of service plans that you can go through it. What I want to show you is like from Dropbox Sign perspective, there are 2 that are already available on the Cloud Marketplace. One is Dropbox Sign Web App Standard 2 licenses. That's number 1, which is the standard version of the product. The second one is the premium version of the product with 5 licenses as a minimum requirement. Now, let's say, even if before you go and subscribe to the standard or the premium version, let's say you want to go ahead with the trial. So This is where Dropbox Sign Web App Standard 2 licenses, this is a trial available. So you may click on this, add to cart, and this is for 30 days available. What I might recommend that while you are going ahead with the trial, you may always get in touch before the trial expires so that I can, in case if you like the product or maybe if you want to know a bit more, myself, Shanthi, Miyad can actually jump into a call with you and we can help you convert it either into an API requirement or maybe in the premium version of the product. However, this was to do with Dropbox Sign, but let's say overall, if you want to just look at Dropbox, so you may remove the sign, and this is where you will find all the Dropbox products available here on the cloud marketplace. This is quite available on cloud marketplace. You may just go and play with it a bit and then let me know if you would have any questions. I'll get back to my slides. So who we are at Ingram Micro. So many of you might know Mr. Adam Smith. He is a general manager Cloud SaaS at Ingram Micro. MS Chrissy Palmer, the vendor business manager here along with me, and then it's myself. So we are here for you to get in touch with us. A quick thing with the next steps. So the next steps would be reach out to me for a quick discovery session. What we do in the discovery session is I would like to understand the use case a bit before even I bring in Shanthi and Miyad, so that before they come and jump into our call, they would have a bit of an idea as to what's the requirement. I will then orchestrate the call with the vendor, and then we will have a bit of a product UI demo along with the commercials that we may discuss. The next thing is, of course, you may go ahead and subscribe to the trials on Cloud Marketplace, and there will be new product launches as well where we can talk as a next thing to talk about the Dropbox replay. That's all from my end. I'll happy to take any questions. And with that, I would rather now hand over to Chrissy for a quick Q&A to go ahead and wrap up this particular session. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rumki. Thanks also to Miyad and also to Shanthi for your presentation today and providing all of that useful information about Dropbox Sign and the APIs that are available. Are there any questions? We're just opening up now to the Q&A session. Rumki, do you want to hand the screen back to me so I can see if there's any questions in the chat? That would be great.
Sure. Just how do I stop sharing?
Just in the menu on the right-hand side. If there aren't any questions, I'm just checking in the chat. If you don't have any actual questions now, please feel free to reach out to myself, to Rumki, also to Shanthi or Miyad. And we are happy to have an offline conversation with you, and also there are potential, we can set up a meeting to set up for, sorry, I'll spit the words out. We can set up a meeting to take you into a bit more of a technical deep dive into Dropbox Sign and the APIs. It looks like we don't have any questions, so I will actually hand over to Matthew. Matthew is part of the Dropbox team as the marketing manager, and we will open up the quiz so we can have some fun and share some prizes. So I think, Matthew, you've got access there.
Yep. Can you guys hear me and you can see my screen? Yeah. Yeah, sweet. So I've tried to put a link in the chat. I'm not sure if that went to everyone. So you can either click on that link, or at the top of this screen, you should be able to see you can go to menti.com, use the code 59270185, and then I will start to see some people enter. So please join the quiz. We have 3 prizes for today. So the first prize is $500, second prize is $300, and third prize is $200. The way that this quiz is about to work, so there's 10 questions, and the faster you answer, the more points you get. So the aim of the game is to be fast and obviously get everything right. So we'll just give it a few more moments to let everyone join, because I can see there is much more people on the call than have joined this. So I want to make sure I wait for everyone.
Come on, guys, there's cash available.
Yes. And all of the questions are based on things that were discussed or presented in the past hour. So you have all the answers.
Oh, brilliant. We can see more people joining.
Yeah, so we've got 10 in right now.
The first prize is $500. The second one is $300, and the third prize is $200. So it'll come in handy for Christmas shopping. That's only 77 days away, thanks to Facebook.
Very nice. All right, I think I might kick it off because we've given enough time. So yeah, I'm going to click enter, and the first question is going to pop up in a few moments. All right, nice. All right, 8 of you got that right. Not bad, not bad. Question number 2. Another 8, so there's 8 smart people, at least we know that. All right, let's jump to the next one. All right, that one was a challenging one. I think next we should get a bit of a leaderboard update. So here we go, you can kind of see how you're all traveling. All right, so Eric is in the lead, not bad, not bad. So we've got
it's
7.
looking exciting.
All right.
Now that's an interesting question.
Yeah, this is like a true and false. So. Nice, all right.
So it is possible to have more than one.
Yep. Sense. I feel like there's much more excitement in person because I can't hear what people are thinking or saying.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, 7 right that time. Oh, well done, 5 people. Maybe after this one, can we show the leaderboard?
Yeah, I was meant to have it every 3 slides, but it doesn't seem to be happening. But yeah, the plan is that it should come up hopefully after this one.
Wonderful. Oh, white labeling.
All right, here we go.
Oh, here we go. Dun, 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 dun.
All right,
Oh,
AX is
very,
so I
very
think
close,
it's
neck and neck.
3 more questions to go. Specifically to Dropbox Sign this question, just
Oh, very good, 9.
oh, so this one was on one of Shanthi's slides. Yep, so 80% faster document completion rate. All right, and I believe it's 1 question left.
Boom, boom.
All right, here we go.
And this is the ease of Dropbox Sign.
Exactly. Also, only 3 got that one correct. Was a bit cheeky, that one. All right, so it should show us the final leaderboard, which is going to have our top 3 winners. Oh, is that going to update?
Oh, it's calculating.
All right, so Eric Rolshauser is the first winner. I also just want to say for AX, because we don't have your full name, so if I should be able to work out who you are, but if not, please just like shoot someone a message and we'll make sure to give you guys the prize. And yeah, I will have this in the back end, all of the details, so we should be good to go. But thanks so much, guys.
A clap to Eric. Well done.
Yeah, well done.
And we'll be in touch to hand out those prizes. Feel free to reach out to me directly, AX. We don't know who you were. And who was the third one?
I've got to just jump in and find that. But what I'll do, Chrissy, I will send that out so we can share that with everyone. Oh, Jimmy B. So it's Jimmy B, Eric, and AX.
Oh, lovely. Congratulations to those 3 winners of today. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone else for joining. Sorry, we've gone over time by about 6 minutes. But thank you for your time today to run through Dropbox Sign and API with the Ingram Micro team and the wonderful folks at Dropbox. Have a wonderful day, and please feel free to reach out to us for any information, and we'll be in touch with the prizes.
And there was a really quick.
Have a great week.
Sorry, guys, there was a question in the Q&A. Short answer is 2 users for the per user plan. On API, you can start with 1.
Awesome. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks for that, clarifying that, Shanthi.
Problems.